invention of nuclear technology in the 1940s, nuclear technology has been considered to be the future of the world, America, of every country. Many sci-fi shows and things about the future show that technology will be, that nuclear power will be a driving force in the new world. However, this is the question of will we see a acquisition of nuclear technology in the next 4 years? And I think essentially that we will not see any large jump of boost in the technology of nuclear technology or power, any use in general. This is due to three main reasons. One, Trump is not a big supporter of nuclear technology in general. Two, the world has not been using nuclear power. And three, the world is not a big fan of nuclear warheads or any use of nuclear technology for destruction. So for my first point is Trump is not a big supporter of nuclear technology. And this applies to both aspects of it. The main one being power. Trump's plan, many of Trump's energy plans focused on him taking funding away from the renewable sources and putting them more into non-renewable sources like fossil fuels and all that stuff. However, this would take away funding from nuclear power. In turn, that if there are less nuclear power plants throughout America, then we're going to have less funding for it, because if we're not using it, there's no ways to research it. So since America is a driving force of nuclear technology, if America is not very focused on nuclear power, there's no reason for us to research nuclear power. The second thing is not only nuclear power, but Trump is not a big supporter of nuclear technology in general. According to an article by the Washington Post on November 9th, they called Trump the biggest anti-technology president we've ever had. And this is due to the fact that he is a big person on economics, obviously, he's a businessman, and he is not in support of spending tons and tons of money on technology, developing technology. And in turn, this will take away funding for nuclear technology or any technology in general. Therefore, we're not going to see a big spike in the development technology, but rather we'll see a probably decrease in the amount of nuclear technology we develop in America. My second point I have is the world is not big on nuclear power right now. And this is in part for many reasons. One thing is the world is becoming more and more environmentally friendly. Over time, back in the Industrial Revolution, we first started seeing the effects that power plants can have. There was tons and tons of carbon monoxide and different pollutions in the environment. And whether or not you believe in global climate change or not, there is a movement in the amount of fossil fuels we're using. And this is evident by any country you look at. The amount of fossil fuels they're using are decreasing at a relatively rapid rate. And nuclear power, well, it is a somewhat renewable source, and it is more environmentally friendly than burning coal. It's not as good as solar panels or windmills or something along those lines. So we are seeing a movement away from from nuclear power, and a movement towards windmills and solar panels and stuff along those lines. The second, we also are seeing that nuclear power plants are decreasing throughout the world. According to a nuclear power plant, or a nuclear power company that surveys and keeps track of all the nuclear power plants in the country and the world essentially, saw that in 2012 there was 9 less nuclear power plants in the world than there was in 2002. And 9 is obviously not a very big number, but in the fact that over 10 years the amount of nuclear power plants that we have decreased by 9, that's a very relatively big amount, seeing as though we'd expect a big increase in the amount that we have rather than a decrease. And this is pointing towards the fact, once again, that we're going to stop using nuclear technology as much as we are and start focusing on other aspects of technology, which then again would lead to more of a decrease in the amount of technology we have and much less an increase, and definitely not a spike in the amount of technology we have. My third point is the world is not big on nuclear warheads, and that is for obvious reasons. In the mid-1980s, that was when nuclear warheads were at their peak. And there are a lot of nuclear warheads, however, very few countries own them. In fact, Russia and America together only make up 93% of the warheads owned in the world. And this is a relatively large amount. It's only 2 countries out of almost 300-400 countries in the world. Yet 2 of them make up 90%. And nowadays, compared to 1980s, the amount of nuclear warheads in the world has dropped by 2/3. There's only 2/3 the amount of warheads there are now than there are back then. This is according to an article by Nuclear Arsenal, where we are seeing that the amount of nuclear warheads we have has decreased dramatically back to its peak in the mid-1980s. Second thing is, people are scared of nuclear warheads. They're scared that if one person launches one, everybody's going to start select fire on that one person. For example, if America launches a nuke at someone, Russia will take back, or something along those lines. And Hillary actually used this against Trump in a lot of her ads, saying you really want to put a man who could accidentally not accidentally, but fire a nuclear warhead for an unjust cause and therefore cause world destruction. And this is showing that people are, in general, just scared of nuclear warfare, and they think there is a better way to do it along the lines of less world destructive along those lines. So, in conclusion, the amount of nuclear warheads or nuclear technology we use is going to decrease, not spike up by any means. It's going to lower over the next 4 years. 1, Trump is not a giant supporter of it. 2, the world isn't really using nuclear power plants as much as they did. So there's no reason to research it. 3, the world is not using nuclear nukes as much as they used to. Therefore, there's no reason to research it for power reasons or destruction reasons. And America's not going to research it because Trump's president, and he is not a supporter of nuclear power plants. So he's not going to put research into nuclear power plants or research into nuclear technology in general.